I'm not sure if IBM is actually different, it's say, from the others. I think it is the same sort of transformative changes that coming towards us as well. I think the attitude or the mindset in IBM has been, we're not trying to basically survive this crisis or these changes. We're going to thrive on this. And that brings a number of different changes that we are doing internally within IBM on how to actually use this situation in order to not only survive, but actually take lead. And I think that has been the main change since I started also at IBM. That has been great to see that having the right mindset during this situation or during these times. I think in my role, especially because I started in October at IBM, I was a little bit, surprised on how I'm going to reach out, because when you start in this role, you really want to reach out to every individual in the company and also outside the company. But I recognized pretty quickly that I could reach out much easier because I could have 150 people meeting in the morning and then another 150 meeting in the afternoon. And then we had an after work the day after with 350 employees, but everything digital. So I actually recognized that it was almost physically impossible to put 150 people in a room and start talk to them so many times in such a short term. But I could actually do that during this digital way of communicating. So I have actually learned a lot how you could drive change and reach out using digital sort of ways of communication. I think something we should not forget is that we are going through probably the most largest stress test ever been done in the modern time. This has not been cheap. This has not been easy. We have gone through a pretty challenging time, but we should not forget that companies, enterprises usually do stress tests to find out actually three things. One is the resilience, the second one is what sort of innovation they come up with, and the third one is the cost. And we have done that, not only enterprises or companies, the whole society, the whole world. So we should really take that outcome from this stress test and really use it, because it had cost us a lot to go through this. So how could we actually use this information, this data that we have received, and actually create the next generation of enterprises, next generation of societies? So that, I think, is the thing we should bring with us, take with us into the next phase. I think it's going to be a couple of them, but if I should choose one trend, I think we are getting to we talk about cognitive enterprise, which is the enterprise that basically learn from itself using its own data to become better. So to enable those enterprises to exist or to be created, we need to really find out where the data is and make sure that we are using an open hybrid thing of how we exchange the data, because we are moving from, in the past we have been more process-oriented or task-oriented enterprises or organizations. Meanwhile, we are moving into data-driven. And that is a very different foundation on how companies and how enterprises and even how societies are built. So by moving to the more hybrid thing on basically enabling data across the organization, that one of the key elements. And then after that, obviously using AI to use that data to create services, to understand the customer and become agile. So my first, I would say, is to enable the data across the organization by using hybrid data, cloud, hybrid or multi-cloud strategies. I think we talk more about, maybe leadership, strategies, rather than technology. And I think that's a perfect way of thinking about that. Because today is not about, I remember many years back, always people talked about, can we do this with help of technology? Can we do that with help of technology? The questions today is, what can we do with the technology? It's a very different way of thinking because technology is there. It's more about what we decide, what is the mindset, how can we see the shift in this paradigm that's happening, and how can we use technology in a way that actually creates new things rather than just continuing the efficiency part or whatever it is. So I think the most important part to take from today is that everyone talks about that. And that's a very good sign because that's a key element for us to be successful. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we ran a survey with 3,000 CEOs. We have that on yearly basis. I think 50 of those CEOs were actually from Sweden, so it's across the world. The three things they mentioned about what would be the key element or key factor for their success and their development, they said three things. They said technology, and they said adaptable workforce, and the third one was ecosystem. And I think management event is a good forum to actually create that ecosystem, to bring everyone together, to make people talk, cross industries, cross different businesses. And I think that is also a key in order to create successful ecosystems. And that is really why I recommend to be part of it.